gonna stop it.
That's going to be it, and it's over. It's all over.
He looked like a rabbit just sprinting out of a hole.
Oh, no, he's ready.
Goodness, Tyrone Davis.
Yes,
Oh, mercy.
Don't know if he's getting up.
Harrison with a left and then another left. Going for a right. Soto goes down. A vicious right, and that might be the night. Oh, he's going to have a hard time getting up. That's it. It's over. Oh, it's over.
Journeyman Boxing.
Good guest on the line. Always good to catch up with him. And I like to call him a feisty fighter. Yuandale Evans, kind enough to join us for a couple moments. It just seems like every time I talk to you, we're talking about trying to get you a fight. How you been? What's going on?
I've been great. Yeah, every time, huh?
Are you staying busy in the gym?
Yeah, I'm always busy. That's one question nobody should ever have to ask me. I'm always staying busy because I'm waiting for that phone call. I'm waiting for a promoter, manager, a fight. You got to stay ready. I've been staying ready. I'm always training. I'm out in Vegas now. Been out in Vegas for about 6 weeks, maybe.
Where are you training out of?
I've been at Top Rank over on Business Lane.
Good.
For the most part, and then I went over to Floyd Mayweather's gym a few times last week and sparred with a Mexican guy over there. So basically, I've just been trying to get in where I fit in.
I mean, do you have it? It's tough because, it is unfortunate. And look, we've talked about this. The issues that you had with getting some stability and managers and promotional team. And look, and you know this, and I say this with respect. When you take a loss, all of a sudden, if you get knocked out and you're undefeated, I call it the Titanic syndrome. All of a sudden, guys just scatter. And they don't want anything to do with you. And you look what happened in the right. I mean, and I say it with respect. You look at what happened in Fortuna fight, and then you weren't able to get a fight for 3 years.
Exactly. Well, man, I had 2 fights last year, but of course they were, D opponents.
Sure, exactly.
Opponents.
Yeah, and you took care of them. You took care of them.
Yeah. I did what I was supposed to do against guys like that. And, I was signed with VS Sports with Mike Leonardi and Richard Torres. And I actually just got a release with those guys because couldn't get anything with them, man. Not down talking those guys or downplaying them, but, I'm an athlete and I know the game. And I'm not just going to go in there for dollars. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take fights that doesn't make sense to take for small purses. So, I got the release with those guys, and I was also signed with the Promoters Warriors, who works with PBC, and I had to get a release from those guys because they didn't want to do their job either.
But let me ask you something. But let me ask you something, and I know you're always honest. So, and I'll be honest with this one. So because I am, and I'm blunt. So when
right.
When that happens, and you got to try to keep asking for your release, then all of a sudden, the perception is, okay, he's a talented boxer, but maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder. Maybe he's got an attitude. He's not playing, quote, the rules. Is there any validity in that, or is it just they're not getting me the fights that I want?
They're not getting me the fights that I want. They're not getting sensible fights, man. Like I was just say for instance, okay, we actually called out Joseph Diaz.
Right.
Joseph Diaz and his team said no. Weeks later, I get down to Vegas. Golden Boy calls, and they say, yeah, we'll fight Yuandale Evans. So we said, okay, cool. Yes, let's go. What's the purse? $5,000. Five what? $5,000 to fight Joseph Diaz on the Golden Boy show in Golden Boy's town? Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? So things like that. Like, we've called out Tevin Farmer. I was supposed to fight Tevin Farmer not too long ago when he had his comeback fight or whatever. And from what he said, Showtime didn't want to see him fight. So I couldn't get him. I couldn't get him to bite. You know what I'm saying? I was going to actually move up to 130 and fight him.
He had a big win last weekend.
Yeah. Against, he fought at like 35, right?
He did. And, it's interesting because and I was talking about him during the opening monologue. He's a classic example of a fighter that, you know, early on in his career, a lot of people thought he was basically just going to be a club fighter. And then you saw what he was able to do.
Right.
And he reeled off a bunch of wins. And I thought he just clowned Ivan Redkach in that fight last week. I mean, and listen, he started fast, and he's a crowd pleaser. And like I said, you look at what he's able to do in his career, it really is amazing, because I think it was 7-4-1, and now he's reeled off 15, 16 wins in a row, and he's under DeBella, and he's putting himself in good position.
Yeah, he just took the wrong fights at the wrong time. That's all that is. He was probably a prideful guy in the beginning of his career, and he didn't care who to fight.
Right.
You know, not realizing that this sport is political and a business sport. You know, you got to realize stuff like that, and that's what I'm facing, what I was facing during the layoff. Like, I took a fight that didn't make sense to take at the time. You know, that would have been a bigger money fight later on in my career. And I got the downside of it. I lost. You know what I'm saying? So I was suffering from that.
How much?
Still, it didn't stop me. I've been out here. Just for instance, I've been out here, you know, working with Miguel Diaz. I met Miguel Diaz right after I lost my fight, because they called me to spar Luis Franco, who was supposed to have fought Gary Russell.
Right.
They sent me home 2 weeks earlier because of the beating that I gave to Luis Franco, and me and Miguel, I guess we created a friendship from there. So when I came to Vegas, he's the first person I called. You get what I'm saying? So
how much do you think? Working. Sure, and I'm wondering how much do you think the loss to Fortuno has hurt your career, especially because it happened so fast in the bout, and it was a knockout. I mean, you know, again, the reality is perception, right? The reality, perception, and the way people perceive things, and you can say, hey, I got caught, it was just a bad night, it happens. You know, because to me, when you look at it and you say, well, he hasn't been active in 3 years, and people start to say, the truth lies somewhere in between. So do you think it's an issue where you suffer that loss and all of a sudden, hot commodity, undefeated prospect out of Cleveland, Ohio, bunch of Ohio kids really making good of late, and then boom, you get that knockout, you suffer the loss, and it just seems as though, I mean, honestly, it just seems as though no one wants anything to do with you.
And honestly, I thought that for a while, for a year or two, until we start calling guys out. We start calling those big fighters out. We start getting calls back saying, from Cameron Duncan, from Lou DeBella, we start getting calls back from people saying, we don't want to fight Evans. We know he lost, but he's a dangerous fighter. He has a dangerous punch. You know, we're not stupid. We want to keep our guy undefeated. We're not looking for that type of opponent.
Right. You
know, I was trying to be a B-side fighter for a while just to catch somebody slipping, but it was guys like Lou DeBella and Cameron Duncan who knew, you know, hey, that's a good fighter. We don't want to, you know, fight that guy at 122 or 126 and risk a loss. You know what I'm saying? And those two guys are now looking into doing business with me. So it's like, as I came to Vegas, I have guys now that I'm completely released, are saying like, hey, yeah, what's going on and what do you have going on now? So I don't know, man. It definitely hurt. It hurted my career. I feel like once that happened, it was this guy isn't anything. And then once we start trying to, you know, be a B-side, it was like, oh, this guy must be still somebody, because I'm getting calls back saying, we don't want to fight you. You're still a good fighter.
Well, it's a case of he's not good enough to sign, but he's good enough for my guy not to fight.
Exactly. That's the perfect statement.
Yeah.
He's not good enough to sign, but he's good enough to beat my fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
it's almost like being desperate now.
No, well, I don't think, I don't think that's the case. And again, a couple minutes, Yuandale Evans, a very good-looking fighter, again, joining us on Friday edition of Double Jab Radio. Rich Quinones here. You know, it's like a perfect example, right? Look what happened last week. Ian Green basically takes a fight on short notice, and a lot of people considered him the opponent, the B-side, right? Good-looking, young, 22-year-old middleweight out of Patterson. What does he do? On short notice, he knocks out Pitts, who was, again, undefeated prospect. Now, that's changed the whole. That one round that he catches him changes not only the complexion of the fight, but the complexion of his career going forward. So, move past the Fortuna fight. You just need to get a fight.
Exactly.
You just need. I mean, honestly, you're going to have to probably just bite your tongue a little bit, swallow the pride, and maybe just take a 6-rounder.
And just go ahead, yeah. Because I mean, I'm 18-1 with 14 KOs. I got a big punch. I can be losing 6 rounds and boom, 7th round knockout, win the whole fight. And I'm still the same guy I was then. I'm just a lot more smarter. I'm definitely more. I've worked on my defense. I'm more talented with the defense now. I'm still a big puncher. I'm still crafty. I'm still skillful. I talk stuff. You know, I haven't changed. I just grew. You know, I grew and I developed new techniques that can help me win big fights. I'm a 10, 12 round fighter, man.
Let me ask you this, because we're just, and you know we're going to get you back on again. Don't worry about that. But we're just coming to a break, and we're pressed on time. So going forward, do you have anything? Because like I said in the opening monologue, I said you're a fighter without a home. You can't find a fight. So do you have anything on the horizon as far as trying to get a manager, trying to get a promoter? I mean, you're out there out west, you're out in Vegas, you're out there. There's got to be some feelers. You know, when can we see you back in the ring?
I wish I could honestly tell you that, man, but I'm committing. I'm committed. I'm being committed every day to the sport, and everybody's talking. Cameron Duncan, Miguel Diaz, Lou DiBella, Heyman, they're all talking, but nobody's being committed to me in a contract. Nobody's committing the contract to me. You know what I'm saying? So I can't honestly even say it. I'm hoping August, man. Miguel Diaz is saying August. He's hooking up with some guys in Miami who could get me on a show. So I'm hoping in August I can be at least fighting and get me on a video or something that can, you know, spark up this boxing world for me in my weight division. Because other than that, it's hard, man. People say it's easy, but it's hard. They say go to the West, you'll get on. I've been on the West for 6 weeks. I sparred with down there seniors, Philippine fighters. I spar with Golden Boys Mexicans. I've been knocking guys out. I've been doing the same thing I do at home, except I'm doing it here where they can talk about it, where promoters and managers are here and trainers are here, and it's still like a dead end right now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, sometimes, you know, the old adage is this: it's a lot harder to say no in front of someone than on the phone. You hear what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to kick open the door. And again, to be fair, sometimes you also have to, you got to eat a little humble pie. I know you might not want to do it, but let's be honest, you can't have these lulls, right? You start to get these lulls into an activity, and then all of a sudden, boom, 27 turns to 30, and you've had 2 or 3 fights in 4 or 5 years. I know that's not what you want.
No.
You just got to kick open a couple doors.
Yeah.
A lot of doors.
That's it. Yeah, a lot.
Well,
I mean, honestly, I need to get on camera and just say what I gotta say. Call these guys out on camera.
Well, you're on the air. You got you got a good outlet right here. You already know that. So I mean, unless I'm out there, you make a trip up to the East Coast. You got the open invite. We'll stick the camera on. You can call anyone out you want.
And I want everybody that's in the weight class at the top, man. I want all top 10 fighters. And the ones that's sparking my eyes right now is out of my weight, like Lomachenko. I definitely want Lomachenko. Santa Cruz, Frampton, that was a good fight. I definitely want that fight. These guys are fighters that set up to fight me.
Right.
They're like set up to fight me, their style. You know what I'm saying? So you got Guillermo, definitely Guillermo. We used to be sparring partners. You know what I'm saying? It's heads up there. Gary Russell, you know. Then you got Javante Davis coming up now. We sparring partners in Washington D.C. Everybody, man. Everybody, man. I don't got a any, mini, money, mo pick. I want everybody.
You got a Christmas list.
26,
You got
30.
a laundry list of fighters. Listen, I got to hit the break. You know you got an open invite. Like I said, we'll get you back on. I always appreciate the honesty. And like I said, you had a good outlet to voice it tonight all over the place on Journeyman Boxing, on Double Job Radio, on the radio, on RingsideNetwork.tv. So always appreciate you being candid and honest, and good to catch up with you.
Good to catch up with you, too. Thanks a lot.
All right, you got it. Be well. Yuandale Evans, good fighter. Like I said, you talk about an example of a fighter that it works both ways. It does.